Hello there. Would you like to see a card trick? You think I'm going to do a card trick? Not tonight, but I have some friends who can do one for me. The two jokers will handle the job this time. I could have you pick any card you like, and if you were here, I'd give you a pen, let you write your name, or whatever you like, right across the front there, and then I'd even let you decide where you would like that card to go in the deck. Just tell me when to stop, and wherever you stop, right there, that is right where your card's going to go. But notice, I leave it hanging out, because if I were to push it in square with the rest of the deck, then I could control it, I could move it to the bottom. You can see it's not on the bottom. Anything like that might make it really easy for the jokers to find your card. And I'm going to pay them to do this trick. I'm going to make them work as hard as they can for it. So I leave the card hanging out, and I would let you slide that card into the deck with your own hands. Even make sure it's completely square. I could even give you the deck, because again, I don't have to do the work. I'm going to leave it up to the jokers to find your card. And what the? There's already a card, and you don't. Huh. It's the fastest they've ever done that. I really got to start paying these guys more. So, last night I was reading that paper that Joshua Jay published, where he did the research with the university professor, Dr. Grimm, I think. And one of the results was 25% of magical spectators most prefer to be surprised by a magical act. And another result was they don't really remember what happens when they're watching card tricks. So I'm hoping that with something this simple and direct, we can make it really easy to describe what happened after the fact, and also I hope the ending is surprising. I'm going to call this Instant Sandwich, because you really hardly do anything. What you do is really hard, but it's hardly anything. There's two pieces to it. So first of all, you can do this with a shuffle deck in use, a borrowed deck if they don't mind writing in it. Pull the jokers out. You can display those however you want. I mean, if you borrow the deck, you don't really need to hand them out and have them inspected, but whatever you feel is right for the occasion. The only important thing is that while you're displaying them, you give that second joker a good solid bend backwards. You can see this one has been bent pretty solid. That backwards bend makes it really easy later to do the lever. So those go on top of the deck. Have a card chosen, have it signed, and then when you take it off to show that the signature's, dried, get this part of the deck, the rest of the deck deep down into straddle grip, like solidly deep in straddle grip, all the way down so it's like touching your knuckles down here, not up at the fingertips. This won't work. All the way down. Perfectly caged. And then you can riffle down and have them choose a place for the card to go. So, notice where my thumb is here. I'll hold it. It's not like, so I'm not in a weird bendy thumb position. I'm just like letting the thumb stick out, and that's where it's going to stay. When I riffle and stop there, it stays there. So you're not going all the way up here to Charlotte cut, just right where it naturally lies. And you don't even have to lift it up that much. Alright, so now you bring the selected card in front, kind of at this angle, lined up with a thumb and forefinger, because what you're trying to hide is the face here. And while it's hidden, what you're going to do is just pull with your two fingers that card down and off. It helps. This part, those two jokers have a tendency to try to come off together. The way you cure that, first of all, you make sure at least the second joker is perfectly square with the rest of the deck. The second cure is, of course, that bend, which automatically kind of pushes that top joker up a little bit. So just lever that up with those two fingers. It might help if those two fingers, like if your fingers are like dry, like you've just washed your hands, it probably won't work as well, but if they're a little bit sweaty or lotioned, then that'll lever up really easily. It doesn't have to come up far, just enough. Maybe when I did it before, it was about this much, just less than 30 degrees. All right, so you're right here, you're covering that up. Then this thumb comes in and starts lifting out the card on the face of the top packet here. And this works really like better if you turn to the side as you do it, to the left a little bit. So these are like bad angles all over here, good angles over here. So a little bit angled to the side. You've got this card levered up, you're lifting this card out. This card, you're going to turn it sideways and just drop it into that slot between the two jokers and close that up. You don't have to like carefully place it in there. If you just drop it because you're in straddle grip, it'll kind of like put it close enough to in the right place for this to work. Now, you're not going to take your hand away. At the moment that you drop it, you're immediately doing something else with this hand because you've just pulled up this card with your thumb. So with this middle finger, you're just dragging that card out and grabbing it in exactly the same position you had just had the other card grabbed. And once it's out, you square up the rest of the deck and reposition that card all the way to the left. So, and then you throw your thumb against the side of the deck here, because sometimes it can get a little out of square from the shift to the side. Just make sure it's square by tapping your thumb on the side here. And then you might want to tap the back of it here too as well. So now most of the work is done. You've got an indifferent card hanging out the side of the deck, and you can talk about it being their card that you've left hanging out because you didn't want to control it. And the top three cards is already their card in the sandwich between the jokers. So everything is square. You need to pull off those top three cards. Since everything is square, I find it's easiest to just do a pinky count. So getting that pinky way down at the corner down there, just bending 1, 2, 3, and then you got a break right there. That's 3 cards. The second joker, your break is below it. So you have all the time in the world, because just patter over this. It doesn't matter if they see you're doing it either, because like for the next thing you do, it kind of makes sense that you want to make a little gap. So now place your thumb on the left side of the deck again, solidly. So you're touching here and with the whole meat here. Then you're coming in with the pinching grip like you're doing in Elmsley. So those two fingers go in there with the thumb. They're each going about half the end knuckle down. Everything is only about half the end knuckle down. And then you're kind of like with the thumb pushing over and with the fingers pulling back, you're keeping that top double squared against the side of your thumb. So that it keeps everything square so you can separate them and then immediately come away. It is possible to come away first and then block push off, and sometimes that works, but you're going to kind of be in this position for a second. You want it to look as fair as possible, so the risk of it coming unsquared in that motion seems a little high. So I say keep it squared against that thumb until that's out and then pull it away. It doesn't have to be like 2 separate motions like that. You can just do it all at once. So now you're basically done. You have the work that's going to happen in the right hand. So immediately draw their attention back here to this card that's hanging out. And like I said, you can have them push the card in, you can hand the deck off to them. That part, you're just looking this way and you're saying things, and you can twist that card that's sticking out. That's the first thing. That's the only thing you really have to do here. Let me say this again. Okay, avoid getting a double. Hold on. Okay, you have a card sticking out the side. So with your thumb and middle finger, you can just straighten that out and then have them slide it in. You put your pinky back here behind it to give it a backstop so that, you know, it stops when it kind of gets squared. And you can squeeze the side, you can have them run their finger along the front. But whatever you want here. The real work is happening here. This hand is out to the side the whole time. You're not looking at it, you're not paying attention to it. It's not important. You're taking the jokers away and you're just holding on to them, right? It's peripheral vision. And the peripheral vision isn't going to change the whole time. At the moment where you've got them distracted, like they're taking the cards away and you're talking about what they can do with them, or they're pushing their card in, what you're going to do, putting this ring finger down here in the corner, you put it on the back of the double with the thumb, then you use your thumb to separate those two, and then you use your thumb to slide everything back into place, like so, and then curl those two fingers back in. Because this is the position you came out in with the jokers, the two jokers with just those three fingers around them, and that's the position you're in after. So it looks like if they were just like out of the corner of their eye, if there's like a dark background over there, the ground, maybe it might not look like anything has changed because the corner of your eye isn't very good at seeing tiny differences like that. So hopefully later, when they're taking the deck away, and you bring this back into view, it's a surprise. And if you do everything right, it should be a surprise that that card is now in between those jokers, even though the jokers have just been hanging out off to the side. It really works with the story that the jokers are the ones doing the work, right? And then, for the reveal, you can just rotate over and then at the same time use your fingers to pull this card back to show the card, most of its face, and the signature that's across it if it's signed. And yeah, there's only one step there. I guess I can give you some POV views of that. Just have to reset up. So, point of view stuff. So of course, as I said, that card, the second joker, needs to be bent down. So let's just skip up to the first move. Card signed, displayed. From behind, you got that deep down in your straddle grip. Riffle down the side here, and lift up and keep that thumb kind of at the corner, just touching the corner. This index finger be kind of pressed against the top. It could be curled over slightly, but the goal is to keep the second joker from flipping up when you lever. So you see how that works if I don't do it right. So I think if you keep your thumb here on the corner, you can keep that second joker from levering up. So, your cover, lever, you're just dropping that card in here. That's the right hand part. So, as you're levering, this thumb is going inside, and your middle finger can pull that card out. So, kind of at speed, deep down in straddle grip. Spectator tells you to stop there. You bring this card in front, and you bring that card in, square up right here with the thumb, where it separates. Let's see if I can do that slow. Something like that. Yes, you might say that's Danny Garcia's ego slip. Well, I feel like it's different enough that it's basically the same, yes, but it's different enough, I think, and maybe slightly harder enough that I don't feel bad about explaining it. Okay, so sometimes those two get stuck together. That's an important thing. After it's signed, when you push off, you can push that off again just to make sure that like whatever grease is on them isn't sticking them together. So riffle, lift, doing that. That time it didn't fall in right away. I think when I have that problem, it's because I need to tilt my hand a little more this way. So let me get to the other side of the camera so it naturally falls that way. So, like that. And in slow motion, nope, not getting the deep straddle grip is necessary. That's the slow motion version. All right, so other part. Here's what a pinky count looks like from behind. 1, 2, 3. And I've got a break. Thumb on the side now. And then pinching here. All 3 cards. I'm pushing and sliding out too, like that. And last thing, because I'm running out of storage, when this is off to the side, that's separated. I'm using the ring finger on that card to keep it from sliding back when the thumb slides back, and then the thumb slides both of them forward, and that is the ending position.